Said you need good whiskey, good whiskey in your life. Yeah, you need good whiskey.
Hi, it's Mark here from Whisky Watch, and it's Whisky Wednesday. If you missed last week's episode, then here it is again for you to watch at your leisure on YouTube. So enjoy the Appleton Arms. Wanted to show you my brother Colin, and he was the brains behind the scene. Now, you know, he helped me a great deal in kitting this out, and here he is in tribute to a fantastic brother who sadly passed away in 2014, which was the year that I entered and won the pub Shed of the Year on that Shed of the Year programme, so very much down to him. Here's the, it didn't get much by the way for winning, so here's the plaque, look, just to prove it. Cuprinol Shed of the Year 2014 category winner. So there's Colin, what a fantastic guy. Now the other thing I can show you is this keg here, this cask, not keg. So this cask formed and gave birth to a very interesting version of Aberlour, what I would call, or what I labelled the Aberlour mongrel. So here it is, and I mentioned it on my A for Aberlour video if you watch that on YouTube. But it's the Shed of the Year Aberlour mongrel, and through somebody I know quite well, this was available that had Aberlour in it maturing, having had sherry in it. So whilst Aberlour is already sherry matured, this sort of had extra, and it was a combination of the 10-year-old, the 12-year-old, the Aberlour Abuna, and I ended up with, I think it was about 50 bottles of that at 40% strength. Fantastic dram, and I gave a lot of it, sold some of it to my friends, gave some away, drinking it myself, and I've not got many left now. But so I keep this cask because I could use it again one day, I suppose, just haven't got around to it. But that's the Aberlour Shed of the Year in tribute to winning the Shed of the Year, in tribute to our Colin, as we called him. Yeah, I still miss him, still get upset now and again, but not tonight. That's not what it's about. So let me just check my notes. Yeah, so don't forget, I've got a couple of prizes to give away. I might have to do that after the event and put a post on for who's won, but there's a hip flask there, and being a bit silly about a toilet roll, but if anybody's desperate you can have it. Okay, I'm going to go from here now over to the Whisky Wall. Despite what you think, they're not really all full, but some are, because the point is, if you come into the Appleton Arms and there's the sign, look, proper pub signage. There's some thieving little git, I guarantee, will come along and pinch some of my whiskey, so most of it is behind the bar. But here's the Whisky Wall, and apparently I was very vociferous at a whisky festival in Edinburgh once, telling somebody about this. Not that I remember, because it was about halfway through and I'd had plenty. I was giving it all this about the Appleton Arms. You see, the Appleton Arms are always open. Cheesy grin. But anyway, so you can see, so there are some whiskies here. What I like to show, just to myself arguably, is how the marketing or the packaging's changed over the years. Just a bit silly of me, I suppose, but I think it looks nice. Wood burner. So what else was I going to tell you about the Whisky Wall? Yeah, this is where they filmed Shed of the Year. So I was stood here and the cameras all lit up, and we were having a chat, and then we went behind the bar, and if you've ever seen it, she got absolutely plastered, the girl who was interviewing me, because she loved her whiskies. I think that's why they sent her. And I was pouring her all these different strength whiskies up for about 2 hours, and they kept saying, and at one point we were chatting away here, and the director was out there, and he came in and he said, "Cut!" I said, "Why, what's up?" He said, "Will you two effing stop talking about whiskey and talk about the shed and why you built it?" So it was quite funny, quite a funny moment. So yeah, if you ever see that episode, you'll see, oh gosh, it's rude of me, but I can't remember her name, Laura. And we had a great afternoon, and this was the filming. If you look at pubinashed.co.uk, which is the other website all about the pub, not about Whisky Watch. pubinashed.co.uk. There's a whole host of photos from that period, 2014, and the filming and the competition, and have a look. I often go back and just make sure it's still there, because even now people who I talk to hear about this pub shed through all sorts of means. And so I was going to here's my golfing friends, look, the boys from BT. So lots and lots of memorabilia, that's the word, isn't it? Poppy Day collections, all sorts of things. So I was going to just double check whether we've had any questions that I could answer for you, but I think my little plan B to look at the actual broadcast myself, just to see if there's any questions, is not working. So apologies for that. If you've got a question, I'll definitely get round to it. There's a few people watching. I've lost you, says Kevin. Well, I lost you years ago, mate. So I thought he'd be hanging out the window, actually, my neighbour. Okay. I'm the wrong way around, it says. I don't know what's happened there. Anyway, it doesn't matter, does it? So there we are. Hopefully there's a few people watching, so it's not all in vain. And my vanity either. So, right, so a few more minutes left and then we're done. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to duck out of sight for a second. Right, sorry about that. And here we are in the other portion of where you've not been, in the Appleton Arms. It's not massive, this, by the way. I'm just moving you around a few areas just so you get a feel for this. So yeah, we have, I'll put my drink down, we have a proper dartboard, right? And I did check, it's the regulation Oki dimensions, right? I'm not saying I'm going to be any good, it's been a while. Whoa, look at that, not bad, 40. So yeah, I had to research the right height. Apparently the height goes off the bullseye. And that has to be a certain height from the floor, and then your regulation. And then you have the Oki, and you've got to throw from the right distance. So I have a discreet little mark on the floor you've got to stand. So this, very often, so you can see we've got a couple of removable tables here. And the idea of that is we have had, I counted one night, and we must have had 30, 40 people in here. It's a bit like this. But we managed to move the tables out and, quite a bit of standing room. But, it's quite nice. You get different groups in here, and it does, when it's full and working, it does sound like a real pub, because you can hear chatter. There's chatter at the bar, there's chatter in the snug, there's chatter here, and it's great. It makes you feel like you've been out. It makes you feel like you've been out for the night. So, and if anybody who did watch the St Patrick's Day broadcast from Centre Parks, I forgot to bring this one with me, which is, mind you, it's probably just as well, but it's the feckin' Irish whiskey. So I kept that bottle because that's quite good. But if you like Irish whiskey, do have a look. There's an Irish whiskey group on Facebook which are really good for tips and things. But yeah, the St Patrick's Day special was Irish, and I do have some Irish behind the bar. Probably didn't mention that before. So Irish, English, Welsh, Scotch, very little bourbon, and India, Japan, and so on. So I'm trying to build a collection a little bit. A few more Greenhalgh's things kicking around. I like these, actually. These are brilliant. If you're going to the races, unfortunately Aintree's off, isn't it? I was due to go to Ladies' Day, and I've taken these in the past. They're fantastic binoculars, because they have a little screw lid, and they're not really binoculars. They're whiskey drinking binoculars. So I can't remember, somebody bought me those as a present, so obviously know me very well, don't they? So there we are. Got lots and lots of old cartons in this corner, which I probably need to sort out and throw away, but some people very kindly give me those sort of cartons. I'm forgetting the name, but anyway, this is from one of my dad's old pubs as well, from the Windle Hotel. It used to be on the wall when I was a lad outside, and again, when the Greenhalgh's brewery went bust and everything was closed, I did a bit of a tour around saying, can I get some of your old Greenhalgh's things like this one? See this greenholes thing here? Used to be on the outside on a wall, lit up as well. Right, so I'll just come and sit back for a sec and wrap up, because I don't know how long we've been on air, and I'm sorry I haven't seen many questions really, but I will try and answer them if you have any for me in a future broadcast. So don't forget the A to Z that I've done. Here's the one of my dad's last pubs, which was in a place called Blackrod near Horwich and Bolton, called the Green Barn Inn, and you can see the greenholes stuff all over it, which is what started me off hunting for some of these greenholes, bric-a-brac really. Another thing that dates back to my dad is, here's my dad here and my late brothers, and my dad had a habit when he used to go into the club down the road, and all the old guys were sat on a bench, and one by one they'd disappear and say, oh, where's Jimmy gone? Oh, he's passed away. So my dad had a habit of calling it death row in his inimitable style. So this is my death row, as I call it. It's a bit macabre maybe, but you know, there they are. Family's important, isn't it? So that's how I remember them, and Colin's big picture there as well. So that's my death row for you, whether you like it or not. So the other thing I would say is, what's your strongest whiskey? What's the strongest whiskey you've got in your house? Because about 10 years ago, a little bit over that, I bought into a cask of Bruichladdich from the island of Islay. And what we did was, I've not got the certificate anymore, but we all, gang of us, bought into full cask of single malt whiskey from Bruichladdich on the island of Islay. It's not smoky whiskey. If you've seen my video for Ardbeg, you'll know I don't like peated or smoky whiskies very much. And this isn't, Bruichladdich is not renowned for it. So we sat there, we left it for 10 years, really building up the anticipation. Every year went by. We never actually got to get a sample, so we did have to wait a full 10 years for this cask. And it's an ex-bourbon cask, and you look at, I mean, you can see I like my sherried whiskies, and that's really, really pale. And that comes from at the influence of the oak cask. But it came out at 65.9%. When you think a normal malt whiskey or any whiskey is 40% generally. So this is 65.9. It is without doubt the strongest whiskey that I have. Now I bet Andy Rouse has got stronger than that, probably, a friend of mine. But I wonder if anybody out there has got anything like that. I'm not talking vodka, because that's quite common. But who's got a whiskey that's that sort of strength? I've been kind of disappointed in the past, but I should let that down, add some water, bring it down to 50 odd % or 40 odd, and it probably does become a little bit better. So I was mildly disappointed with it. So again, some of my friends have benefited from giving that away. But there it is. That's my strongest whiskey. So what's yours? So there we are. You can see there. Stay at home. Protect the NHS. That saves lives. You know, this is all very serious, and yet, you know, lots and lots of people are doing light-hearted things on Facebook, which is great to see. The good old British sense of humour. Wartime spirit, if you like. So please stay safe. Please do what they tell us to do. Maintain your 2 meters. I was in Tesco's the other day. It was quite a scary experience, but then I saw one of the Chuckle brothers, and I shouted to him, "Oi, 2 meters, you!" So it's serious, but you can still have a laugh now and again, can't you? So please stay safe. Keep watching. Like and subscribe to Whisky Watch UK on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. I'll keep the videos coming. Eventually there'll be more than 10 people watching, probably. But anyway, we'll wrap it up there. I hope you've enjoyed the live show of the Appleton Arms. I'll do it again at some point, and I will get back to your questions. I'll have to figure out how on earth I can see those better. But anyway, all the very best to you. Slanjavar, which means good health, which is important right now, isn't it? So good health to you, Slanjavar. I'll see you all again soon. All the best. Bye for now.